Hey, you guys. This is Miss Flo, and you are listening to Go with the Flow, a podcast where I talk about anything and everything, whether it's my experience as a teacher, photographer, filmmaker, web designer, so many hats and they just keep stacking, stacking, stacking. Welcome to tonight's special episode of my review of 2022, part two, where I dive into some of my favorite TV shows and movies that I haven't already reviewed. Now, if there's anything that I list or talk about on this episode that I might have missed, or you may recommend for me to watch, or you think I should review, go ahead and hit us up in the chat and feel free to chime in at any moment. I want to hear what you guys think. That was the whole point from stepping from pre-recorded audio to now streaming on Twitch, and the recorded episodes will be on the YouTube channel Noir Vibes DC. I know I just gave you like a lot, but I'm really excited about this change, and I hope that you continue to follow me through this journey. And please share the stream, get as many people in as possible, and let's try to get as many followers as possible. Now, today I am joined with my intern, friend, just everything from a student, Ziggy. Say hi to the public, Ziggy.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be back.
Yes, and as always, I really appreciate you for coming on. It gets lonely just talking to myself. It's sometimes therapeutic, but sometimes it gets, a little bit awkward. But yes, thank you for coming on this show. Today's episode, again, focus on some of my favorite and not so favorite movies and TV shows of 2022, and we're just going to go ahead and dive into the thick of it and focus on, well, first, two canceled shows. Two canceled shows of 2022. Of course, there are probably more, but these are some highly noticeable shows that are just ending this year. Let's go ahead and start with, of course, one of the most iconic talk shows of all time, Maury? Moray? I
More,
think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Uh,
more.
Maury, thank you. Maury is, well, I gotta say, it has a brand. A lot of people have parodied off this iconic talk show, but at times it can be very repetitive and somewhat problematic. If you don't know what the show was, it was paternity tests, lie detectors, uh, problematic children, and I don't know if they were highlighting or exploiting people with disabilities. That
Ooh.
did, I mean, I don't really know, but Maury has been more known for the paternity test and mocked several times, even though Nas X had his fun with the show before it came to an end. Ziggy, how do you feel about this cancellation?
So I grew up on Maury. I just learned that it was that it got canceled. I didn't even know that the show was still running. I thought they just showed reruns. But when I was younger, like it always got a laugh out of me. Like I found it entertaining, but as I grew older, like I saw like how like problematic it can be. Like especially when there was like a trans episode, it was just like so like dated and so like offensive, so to speak. So it was Maury has a certain demographic. So I think the target audience like they really go for that target audience. Like like what they're aiming for.
Right. I think my main issue with the show was one that was very repetitive. Also,
Yeah.
I, if the main goal of a talk show is to help people with their problems and help resolve things, it for some reason it just feels like the people were just being humiliated, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like they signed up for it. So it's just like I don't know who really to blame more. Is it more so like the producers or the people that agreed to be on this show?
Mm. I mean, you could look at it as like someone. I thought it was like acting. I thought this was fake. I didn't really think it was like a real thing. I thought it was a scripted TV show because it's some of the stories just felt too fabricated to be true. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think I saw
I,
something. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
So I just thought it was just fake. So I didn't really take into account like that these are like real people. Like this could like affect like a person's like life outside of this. But the girl that wasn't even more. Never mind. But
No, but I saw a documentary. It's not like well one of the series like The Dark Side of the 90s from Vice, and they went into like this whole era of like trash TV talk shows where at one point they were talking about social issues, but then it almost turned into like what is now known as like reality TV, and they may have like been purposely stirring up drama, um, and like knowingly trying to surprise the guests that really uh signed up with this new information or bringing unsuspect just random people onto the show and adding more drama to the story. So in some aspects it was, you know, it's the formula now for current reality shows, but it just it outgrew it. It's just we're just over it. You know what I'm saying? The reality
yeah,
shows now, like Love and Hip Hop and basically anything on VH1 has surpassed. It's basically all the talk shows in in its own little package. And I don't think there's really a need for a Maury type show anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel
yeah.
like we it had its run. We people had fun with it. You know what I mean? There's tons of memes on social media that people will forever use for any situation. It will go down in history as one of the most iconic, talk shows of its time, but it had its run and it's okay for it to end.
I totally agree.
Mhm. Moving on to our second canceled show.
This one made me so mad.
Why made you mad? What was it? I mean, Legendary, I
I
had mixed
get that
feelings
like
about it.
this show was starting to get a little bit. Should we get into it right now?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You want to intro? Okay. So I get that this show was starting to get a little like the competition wasn't giving as much as it was the first two seasons, and like the judging was starting. It was the judging was always a little faulty, but like as the show went on, you could really see like the judging was not given some episodes. Like then the ill use of new like rules like the gag flag.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. It was they did not use their gag flags correctly in my opinion that season.
I agree. I don't think it should have been used before. I think it should have been used with the battle. I don't think it should
Yes.
have been. They did it, like when people were still gathering like the scores, and they were just like, "Oh well, I gagged." But it's like, well, if you really gagged, you would have gave them a better score.
Give them
You
a
know what I'm saying?
10. Like don't use
Yeah,
the
like
gag
why?
flag to save them.
Like that's a waste. And I
Then
was
I
just
remember they gave a gag flag to the winning house that week. Like that happened one time.
it was just a mess, and I was upset because like they brought Kiki Palmer onto the third
Yeah,
season, and
I miss Megan.
I miss, well, yeah, I miss Megan too, but I really like Kiki. I think
Kiki as
Kiki,
well.
she like brought like her own style to the judging, and she kept it real and 100. I think,
Yeah.
to be honest, I think season one set a very high bar, and I don't like. I just feel HBO would have had a better luck if they just recorded the ballrooms that are already happening. Like the
Yeah.
same ballrooms that you see, you can pull up on YouTube. If they would have just
You could
recorded
see
that,
they like give it that real feel appeal to what ballroom really is. Like get that real aspect and get that culture, like not that fake Hollywood set. Like no shade to them in the show because it was first of all, it was like it made history. Like let's be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
the queer
yeah.
representation and spotlighting ballroom. You brought in
Just wanted to be
icons.
authentic.
Yeah, you had Laomi, who is a legend in her own right in the ballroom scene. But there were times that they brought guest judges that,
Out of nowhere. I had
it,
no idea half of the guesses were the last season.
I mean, if they would have just brought in like more drag queens, they brought in Bob the drag
I love the
queen.
Bob. Yeah, I love the Bob's episode.
Yeah, but just like you need to bring in, I feel like they brought in some names like Tiffany Haddish. I think that was season two to like
Like,
just draw in viewers. But
hmm,
like it's a competition, and you know what I mean? And sometimes when it's tied or split, these guest judges will just like, well, I'm gonna just root for the underdog. No.
I think
If
would have brought
they,
in uh Precious. You know the MC Precious. He
yeah,
was in the show My House.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was just it I feel like Legendary had the potential to really be a good competition show and like really highlight ballroom culture, but I feel like they overthought it, made it way too Hollywood and was
Made it
I
more
don't
into like a dance cop. Like I get that ballroom is like it's a dance form, but like let me like nah, let me not say that. You can go ahead.
but it was just like what was Chance the Rapper's brother doing there?
I
Is
guess
he in
because
the
he's
ballroom scene?
bisexual. Oh, he's bisexual. That's why he's on there.
But is he in the
Like
ballroom
a
scene?
mixed
Maybe I don't know.
thing.
Maybe I'm
No,
speaking out
he's
of
not,
turn.
he's not in the ballroom scene. No,
So I just feel if we were
the
to bring back,
ballroom's not in the ballroom scene.
oh my God, I would just say if they were to bring this back, I don't know if another network will bring it up. Just record the ballroom that happened on YouTube. Do what Viceland did. That was very educational. And then there was also a I don't know if it's like full controversial. But I saw Aja from Drag Race, like she tweeted like something about like she was eliminated because like our it wasn't the real house, they just put random people together. And I was like,
What?
okay,
I felt that no, but real tea. I felt that with some houses. Like I felt like these were just random people that. It's just the way you work and your teamwork. You can see through like for me, you could see who's like the real families, and it showed in their performances. For real, for real.
right. And if I were to restructure the show, I don't think I would do eliminations. Like if I'm doing like real ballroom scene, it would just to see like how many wins a house can acquire within a season.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
because in a
saying?
real ballroom scene, like the girls come back and win trophies. Like
Right.
they don't flutter off, come back and they try to steal the trophy again.
Right. And then you would just have the houses with like the top wins, kind of like how RuPaul did Drag Race all
This
winter season.
last season,
Yeah. Like if
yeah,
they did it that way, it would be much better. And it's just
well,
like authentic houses. Like don't just put 007s.
together.
Yeah. You can have a category for like individuals like 007s, but you know, if you do house, like if you're doing houses,
A real
then
house that has a name and has a history for real, and that's a real like ballroom staple, in my
right.
opinion.
Because I think the other issue is it's like eventually you keep doing these seasons, like are other houses that were eliminated before, can they come back? Because eventually there's only so many houses that are out there. You know what I mean? Because ballroom, although like ballroom has a huge legacy, it's been around for like ever. But
Yeah, you
there's
got
a
House of Ninja all the way in Japan.
right, but there's only a finite like it's still ballroom is still considered somewhat underground. And again, we
Yes.
do appreciate HBO for, highlighting it. I just think they overthought it and made it too Hollywood. And if they just recorded like if make it like like an actual reality series and shot it like I said on YouTube, you can still like work with them and provide costumes and help with set designs or whatever, but like just leave the judging to actual icons and legends that know ballroom. That
Yeah.
that was it. So, hopefully maybe Viceland might do that. I don't know. But yeah, I just think I'm sad to see it go, but I understand why. Let's just say that.
You know, always go to your local ball.
But they be late at night though. Is there like a ball that's like
My
not as late?
brother, my brother, walks in balls, so he knows.
I don't want to go to one. There's just something that's in winter break and I want to like photograph it just to say like I went, but but get a sense of what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's gonna be a winter ball and a New Year's ball. I know that.
Okay, I'll keep my eye out for that. All right, bye, Legendary. You had to run, but
Bye. Love you, girl.
it's something that a show that's ending but on their own terms that had great 4 seasons
Oh yeah.
is Atlanta. Um, I'm gonna just say it. Donald Glover is a genius, and I don't know if everybody understands his unique vision. This was a great cast. I love Lakeith. I love Zazie, and Brian are just this was just a really good cast. And the fact that it has progressed from the premise of here's an upcoming local rapper and his cousin who is just latching on because he's like trying to hustle his way out, and to see it grow through the seasons, um is just remarkable. I think there was some pushback on how he did like the last 2 seasons because they weren't always about, him and his cousin. He did some side episodes that tackled some, serious issues. And even this season, like they did a documentary on the Goofy movie, which I heard the speculation that the Goofy movie was black, but now I know that oh, it's black. Like it's a black Disney movie. You know what I mean? And I appreciate him for that. And
Hmm.
but I actually like the side episodes. I mean, we get filler episodes from anime and they don't always work. You know what I mean? Like I would save so much time if I skipped the filler episodes on Bleach. But that's a separate conversation. But with Atlanta
I feel like you need to watch the filler episodes though.
for Bleach
Or
or
like
for
I'm talking about
Atlanta?
Atlanta wise though.
Yes, I mean, like why would I think Brian's character would have to be on a farm and get attacked. But by the way, there's gonna be spoilers. I'm going into we're off the cancel, but like they're gonna be spoilers through this. So if you haven't seen some of the shows that we're mentioning, you can pause, stop, leave, come back. But like the fact that Brian's character is just growing weed and then somehow gets attacked by a wild boar. What? It's random, but it was like it's still good. And it was just some almost sci-fi-esque elements to the last couple episodes. But at the same time, he took the time to really break down and humanize these characters even more. Whether it is Um, again, I'm really bad with names, the characters' names, but I know the actors a little bit. Like Donald's character going to therapy and just breaking down after just like having encounters with racism, but then had a racist encounter with a white woman and just did a whole revenge plot to ruin her life. How do you feel about that? Did you watch that episode?
Honestly, no, I did not. But from the plot, from how you're describing it, it sounds like something I would really enjoy.
I mean, yes, I mean Donald Glover has this way of almost the same way as like Jordan Peele type, and I would love for them to collab at some point because
I would. That's my dream collab. That's one of my dream collabs.
I feel like it would be so fire. It's just the fact of the way he tackles these social issues um surrounding black people in this nuanced way that's sci-fi fantasy but keeping it grounded in Atlanta is just genius. Again, gonna be sad to see this show go, but I think the trend that I'm seeing now, and we saw this with Key and Peele, is that they're not doing like endless seasons. They feel like they know within themselves when it's time to go and like ending things on their own terms as opposed to running the risk of being canceled um before they conclude everything. So kudos, I tip my hat. I don't have a hat, but I if I did, I would tip it off to you, Donald. And who knows, maybe this gives him more time to go back to his music and be childish Gambino. Did he retire from that? I don't remember.
I think he did. His last musical project was, I think, in 2019. I don't know, but
Hmm.
his like last album was like in 2016, I think.
I mean, a lot of these musicians say, "Oh, this is my last album." They come back at some point. So, whatever project that Donald is doing, I think I saw something he's supposed to be taking on some character. I think he's joining the
He joined the
MC.
Marvel Universe.
But I mean, no, he was already in the Marvel universe, sort of.
Yeah, because he was a drug dealer in Spider-Man.
And the uncle to
Miles
Miles.
Morales.
Yeah.
That's a
So
theory, or is that canon?
I think that's canon because he was on the phone when he was still stuck to the trunk. He called him like, "Yeah, Miles, I'm gonna be late," and I think that was confirmed. Um, I think people really wanted to see him as like the Night Stalker, but we'll
But
see.
let me say something real quick. I'm gonna bring this back up because I remember when they wanted Donald Glover to be Spider-Man, and he got met with a whole bunch of racist comments and backlash
And it may
because
not,
they were like,
and
"We're not ready for a black Spider-Man."
but his body type and his type of humor could have been a Peter Parker or a Miles Morales. But I feel
I
like
agree.
he's too old for it now.
He's too old now,
But
but
yeah,
like
but like
back in
when
his
he was on
community days, he could
Community,
have played him.
when he was on Community, I think he could have done it. But I mean, I'm gonna just say this: the creator of Marvel, Stan Lee, said that he really liked one of the reasons why he really liked Spider-Man is because he is covered head to toe, and it's so that anybody could be Spider-Man. It doesn't matter what color that my eyes started burning. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter what color or race you are. Anybody could be under the costume. That's what it is. So many people could connect to it. And as we're about to see in the Spider-Verse, the new Spider-Verse movie, which if you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. It's out.
Yeah, go watch that.
And we're getting Spider-Woman played by Issa Rae, full afro in effect, and I think they confirmed that her character's pregnant. we will see. But like, there's going to be so many Spider-Men,
Different versions of
Spider-Women
Spider-Man.
of all shapes, sizes,
Other
and
people,
color. Like,
even people like some of the spider hero, I would say spider personas are animals.
so let's just end this debate like in terms of what ethnicity a character should be. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, it's all fantasy. It's not historical. They're not historical figures. Just they could be anybody. Okay. Now, on to a show that I really struggled to get through because it was a little bit cringy. It made me sad because like I really love Issa Rae. I loved her for Insecure. I just love her
uh,
presence, her energy. We're gonna talk about rap shit. And I just I had to stop for a minute because the main character, her I don't know if you can see my mouse waving and poking at her. I don't even remember her name. The one that was supposed to be the conscience, the serious rapper.
yeah.
I don't like her. And it's just like I wanted to like her because like I understand her struggle. It she blew up for a minute and had the potential to like really make it in the industry, but because she wasn't willing to be like the other female rappers you out here that are selling sex and being provocative, like she wanted to be um like another Queen Latifah, a Common, like she or like a Rhapsody. It is like she was dropped and forced to work at a hotel, which is
Yeah.
sad. Like I felt for the character, but it was something about her. I don't know if it's how she was written or how the actor was portraying her. It was just something that was very cringy and
Like
annoying.
self-righteous.
I just like I felt for her friend who is a single mom who's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she could rap too, but was also like she was really like hustling. Like she had like a OnlyFans or something equivalent to an OnlyFans, um, while also doing hair and makeup, and was like it's really trying to survive and make it with her, for her daughter. But the other girl kept messing it up. It was like she was still split between, okay, do I want to be like the city girls, or do I want to stick with my principles and really rap about something? Which is it's a good debate and a strong conversation. I just didn't, which I'm still conflicted like with the message and overall with the concern with like female rappers. Like, and you feel free like to answer this, Siggy. Like, is it empowering for women to talk about sex and you know um it's not exploiting themselves. I don't want to say
Mm.
that. It's more so being provocative and being sexy, whether you're being like a little Kim or stemming from what little Kim built. Like,
Okay,
is that
so
is it empowering for them, or do you feel like, I guess it's almost like who came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, can is it empowering for women, or do they feel, or are they being exploited by the market, which requires them to be provocative? If that makes sense.
okay, so I think that honestly it is both. And I'm gonna tell you why. There are different cases where like you have someone like Megan Thee Stallion, okay? Megan Thee Stallion is Megan Thee Stallion rap. You would say that she mostly raps about sexual stuff. You would say that. If you look deeper into her other stuff, she also raps about, okay. So she gives you like street shit and she gives you like hard like motivational shit and like emotional shit as well. Like she has layers. But It's about what the people want to see at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like more like you get more views and more views when you show some ass or show some titties than you do like I'm not like agreeing with this like this would be the way. I'm just saying like that's kind of how it is these days. And some people take advantage of that. Some people just want to own their bodies and be their authentic self because maybe there was a time in their lives where they weren't allowed to express themselves or they weren't loving their bodies or they weren't comfortable in their bodies and now they're fully expressing themselves like Chloe Bailey. You know what I mean? Like she's
Mhm.
a grown woman and going into her adulthood and a lot of people are saying like she's too sexual, like she's like it's like becoming too much, she's doing too much. I just feel like she's a young woman just expressing her sexuality. But in some cases, I feel like some people it's just not their brand, like it's not their thing. Like you can see that people when people are uncomfortable, like there's some situations where like pop stars have come out saying they're uncomfortable wearing certain things or acting this way, or the label told them to act this way because that's what sells. And you see that and it reflects in a lot of media because you see it in like TV shows and movies that have certain situations like that.
Right. And I think again, this show really had the opportunity, maybe not opportunity. They did bring on this conversation, which I appreciate. And there's some other elements I appreciate. I think I don't know, maybe going into season 2 we'll see some more developments with this, but it just sucks because it's like she had to go. I'm gonna say nothing bad about the City Girls, love their music, but they had to go to the City Girls route to actually finally, gain some traction. And then, our main character was very conflicted about taking on this persona and risk sabotaging the group based on her confliction. Um, I mean, it create like an interesting storyline, but I was just like so tired of her because it's like with me, if you're gonna like go for it, then stick to the plan. And I feel like she was very selfish because you know that your partner has like
A
a lot
lot
more at
riding on them.
stake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some things that I did appreciate about the series is that they made light skins the villain. Like like
Yes.
the light skinned men. She Issa Rae went the opposite of Tyler Perry and was like her
Love her for that.
boyfriend, who apparently is very self-centered. Like if the conversation wasn't about him or but the fact that he's been in law school,
Oh my
he
god.
had some type of feeling about it, and I guess cheated on her. And then the producer that she was originally working with, that was supposed to like help blow her up, dropped her just because she wasn't willing to compromise the integrity of her art. But it was like he said when they met up again after she started getting some traction, he was like, "Well, basically the reason that you're like starting to get hot now is because you're doing everything that I told you to do before." And I was like, "Oof."
Yeah. No, that hit her deep.
Yeah, that was that cut a little deep. But yeah, I just really appreciate the change of pace because, like, with Tyler Perry movies, it's like the dark skinned male character is complete trash and is like
Right.
villainized, and then you have like the light skin with the bad
Cornrows.
wig, come in and save the day. So like, I appreciate the switch up. The new dude, her Haitian situation boo.
Haitian situation.
That's what he was. I don't think it was like a serious um official relationship. I just think, he's a coworker, a rebound. They were feeling each other. He was cute. He was very cute. So
Yeah,
like,
he was.
Like, so I understand, but it wasn't. But and then her scamming, like, irritated. Was this based on City Girls? What did Rich McCall go to jail for?
And I think it was like credit card fraud or something like that.
Oh, I think this is based on City Girls.
Yeah,
Is it?
it's heavily based on City Girls. It's known.
Mm. Is the girl JT? Is that the one that went to jail?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're out, girl. You made it out.
Girl, she been free for like 3 years.
Really? It's been 3 years. I lost my sense
Yeah.
of time. The pandemic really just. What is time anymore?
It hasn't been, no, it's been 2 years. Or has it been one? I don't remember.
I mean, she's been out for a while, but like, I'm glad she seems to be doing good for herself. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I still don't. I've still the series made me cringe a little bit. I think the conflict in here is good, and it's like creating really strong dialogue, especially around women rappers. I don't want to say female. It's like women rappers and like what they have to do to break into the industry, which is kind of unfortunate because we do have some strong, talented artists that are great lyricists, but that do have to like compromise their morals a little bit to make it. And something has got to change, but it's like, how do you change society's view on a
Yeah.
subgroup of artists? So I just it just made me cringe, and it took me a while to get through the series. Usually, if I'm really into something, I binge, but I was
Yeah,
dragging
it
on
took
this
me a
one.
while to get to it too. You
It,
finished it before me, and I started before you.
and still, usually I'm quicker than that. But I was just like, you're the one that made me like go back and watch it because like I wasn't really about to finish it. So,
Yeah,
but
I just felt like we needed to finish that show.
so moving on to another HBO show.
Oh
Now
my
to be fair,
God.
okay, to be fair, I haven't watched this show only because as a high school teacher, um, one I kind of live some of these situations, or like some of my students have lived with some of the situations. Um, and also I felt that Euphoria was going to be another 13 Reasons Why. Because, and we talked about this, I think it was your freshman year at high school. It 13
It didn't
Reasons
need.
Why.
Should have been one season.
It should have been one
There
season.
was
I can see why
nothing.
the
There
second
was
season
nothing.
was there 3 or 4 seasons of that show.
For 4 seasons of that show.
Like I didn't okay. I didn't watch that show after the second season. And then the reason okay, so here's my concern with Euphoria. I felt like it was gonna be another 13 Reasons Why. And that show had no peaks. It was all valleys. It was just like no ups. Like it was just so depressing and controversial
Yeah.
because like some scenes just didn't need to be shown. There's a way to, and this is a trigger warning for anybody that's watching. There's a way to showcase sexual assault, unaliving without like actually showing it. I've seen it done in other series that'll still say like, okay, this is what happened. I just felt like
Okay.
that show was like being shocking to be shocking to get views, and there were times where I thought it was very distasteful. So that was just some of the reasons why I haven't watched this particular show. If you don't know what I'm talking about now, I'm talking about Euphoria. I love Zendaya. I think that she is an amazing actress, and her range is just. I know her as like as a Disney kid.
Oh,
Um, she's a great comedic actress. I love her for her comedic timing, and I love her in the MCU. And I think did she win Academy Awards for her role in Euphoria?
yes. This year and last year.
So the only reason I had the thumbs down is because one, I didn't watch it, and because of like Um, and some of you are gonna be like, well, how can you, don't like it if you haven't watched it? I've seen some clips. I've seen some clips online, and that has reassured my concerns about it. Now,
But let me
okay, I
say
will I will
something.
let you get into it because like this is Ziggy's one of Ziggy's favorite shows. So I'm gonna let you talk about it and then I'm gonna give my 2 cents.
Okay, so you've been living under a rock for the past 3 years. You don't know what Euphoria is. Euphoria is a teen drama. I want to say drama, but it has comedic beats to it sometimes. But overall, the tone is dramatic. So it's about this 17-year-old girl named Rue who is a drug addict, and she has recently overdosed. That's season 1. Okay, so that's just the main plot. The main plot is it's around a bunch of lives around teenagers living in this suburban area, Southern California area, and their daily trials and tribulations as they go through high school. I'm deeper than the others. It's more deeper than that. That's just like a superficial like type of like synopsis, but that's basically what it is if you want to look at it like that. But the from what I don't know, should I talk about? We're talking about season 2, right? Because that's what came out this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So picking up off of season 2, you get Rue. If you have not watched season 1, I am sorry. So Rue is back on her bender. She's doing drugs again, and she's going hard this time. So it eats so hard that the first episode she goes into cardiac arrest and has to be saved by snorting Adderall that she has in her pocket. I mean, in her sock. So I feel like the way they started off this season, it starts off in New Year's, and it aired in January 2022. So it was really fitting for the time. Even though the Euphoria timeline is really weird because season 1 was in 2019 and season 2 was in 2022. This was like almost a 3-year time gap. So it's weird to see them pick off right where the specials left off and see that they're like this New Year's party, and you see like a bunch of like things from the past, like you see a past strained relationships, like the way it's framed, like certain characters, they pick off where they left off and where the drama they left off. Like you have Fez and Nate at he left off last season strained as hell because he had called the cops on him and told them that was selling drugs and his house got raided and they took like he had to flush all the drugs and he had to do a whole lot of stuff to get money and it was like really hectic and he said the next time he sees like Nate he's gonna kill him. So at the they chose the perfect way to end episode season 1 of season 2, which is Nate getting his ass beat by Fez, bro. Everybody on social media was cheering on Fez for beating Nate's ass. We all wanted to beat Nate's ass season 1 because he was a rat. Like he was literally the worst character you could ever think of. Like literally garbage in
Isn't he
human
also
form.
abusive?
Yes, evil incarnate, and he just got like. I like that we get some form of justice in that first fucking episode, knowing that he don't get off scot free because at the end of season 1, it ends up like it seems like he's gonna get away with his crimes, like nothing. He's not like no, he got no consequences. Like got like in season 1 he choked out his girlfriend. Everyone saw it. He got like arrested for it and stuff like that. Wait, no, he didn't get arrested. The police came and they like took him into custody, but like he didn't get charged because he framed somebody else he was
Wait, the
talking
girl
to.
didn't say anything?
No, the girl was like, he didn't choke me. He didn't do it. She lied and said that the other boy did it. Yeah.
What?
So
Oh. Mm-mm.
yeah, it's really messy and like that's a lot like and they don't even like that's another thing. There's so many plot holes in season 2. Like there's so many storylines left resolved. Like
So
that
we did.
storyline, like we don't know where Tyler is, and like we don't ever go back to like to see if they investigated the situation. Like he's just in jail.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this. Is Tyler what race is Tyler?
He's white. He is a
Okay.
22-year-old white man. The only reason why he agreed to this deal is because he is 22 years old and he had sex with her when she was 17. He did not know. He didn't ask. He was like, "What's a lighter sentence, assault or statutory?"
But
So that's how he got in that situation.
I don't think I would have liked this show. I think that it would
Yeah,
make me
you would.
very
I don't think you
angry.
would have either.
I think like
But
this would really like piss me off. Um, I'm a heavy advocate for survivors of domestic abuse, and we
yeah,
talked about this on the podcast before. I saw clips where, and I think the girl's one of like the main characters of the show, right? What's her name?
she Latina,
Yeah,
Addie.
Maddie.
Yeah, that's her name.
And I'm just like, she seems like a very sweet person, but it's like tough on the outside because it's her wall. It's to like to really protect herself. But I just saw the meme of like her holding hands with Nate, and it's usually with like the horoscope memes, like a Taurus likes food, sleep, da da da, and but then when like I was seeing additional clips of like how this relationship really was, I was just like, why y'all making light memes of this? Like, this is the
Yeah.
saddest situation ever. Like, there's this is like how aware of were the friends of
And
this
then,
abusive
oh my God,
relationship?
let me get into that. So, in season 2, we have this relationship that we saw coming out of nowhere. Girl, in season 1, it didn't even make sense. I felt they did this just for like shock value or like I don't know. The plot was messy. So you have Cassie Howard. And Cassie Howard in the first season was Maddie's best friend. She was basically the over sexualized girl, the slut shame girl of her school. Everybody thought she got around. People exposed her videotapes and pictures. Like they were sharing them around in a little group chat, and like there's like they show you that on the first episode her nudes, which is another thing in this show which I want to talk about is the unnecessary nudity. We'll get into that later. But Cassie Howard, and she has self-esteem issues. Her dad, she has abandonment issues, and she has daddy issues because her dad, um, at a young age, like she had a strong relationship with her dad, and then he left her because he got in an accident and he got addicted to painkillers, and then he was very absent, and he basically abandoned them and stopped talking to her. So she lost that connection and that fatherly love. So I guess it shows that it affected her self esteem in a certain way. So and then we have Nate. What is I forgot his last name. I think it's Nate Jacobs, the main antagonist of Euphoria. So the first episode of season 2, Cassie gets into an argument with her sister Lexi, and she's outside of a convenience store. Nate pulls up, and they spark a conversation. This is what they spark a conversation. It seems a little flirty. She's like, "Oh, I'm not in a relationship right now. I'm trying to focus on me." And he's like, "Why?" Because I keep making bad mistakes. And he's like, "Yeah, me too." And stuff like that. So they get in the and he's like, "You want to go to this party?" She gets in the car with this man. This is their relationship prior to anything. He was in season 1. He was slut shaming her, calling her a whore, saying that she is like not worth a relationship, basically making fun of her because of her sexual history. And she's aware that he makes fun of her and calls her these things. And she's also aware that he abused Maddie and choked her out at the carnival. So what I didn't really agree with, and I didn't understand why would the writers make this character do this, is why would she get in the car with him and start being sexual immediately off the bat? They don't have any history prior to this that we know of where like this behavior seems like realistic.
I think, yeah, I mean, to be honest, we probably know someone that is like, what's the blonde girl's name again?
Cassie.
Cassie. We probably know somebody that's like that has been
Definitely
just,
know a Cassie. I ain't gonna say no names though. If you could catch my drift,
I know, I
know what
know,
I'm talking
I know. We
about.
probably know like a couple of Cassies, and we see them. in a relationship with a person that we don't understand why there's talk badly about them, that has degraded them publicly. I'm just like, I'm not. Let me. Okay. So here's some of the like things I've seen online in terms of conversation of Euphoria. Zendaya got some backlash for portraying Rue and just like the show in general. But as a high school teacher, I have seen some of these situations. And again, that's why like I don't watch it because like we're practically living it. It is very real. And I really appreciate Zendaya saying like it's not glorifying it. It's more so serving as a warning that hey, maybe you should pay attention to like your high school student and child because behind closed doors they're going through X, Y, and Z. All of this is happening and in the midst of also still trying to graduate and get good grades and all of that. So
Yes.
I appreciate Euphoria for like being part of the conversation. The other reason why I don't watch it because like even though we know that the actors are 20 somethings, I don't want to see any imagery of high school students engaging in sex. It's weird. It's
And
weird.
when the show first came out, I was 16 at the time.
Hmm.
I wasn't really worried about that, but now an adult. I really get uncomfortable that these are supposed to be high schoolers and just seeing them, titties out every scene. And it's just like unnecessary at times, which makes me question Sam. What is his name? Sam Raimi, director and creator and writer of the show. Makes me question him, and especially when you start to see who he specifically shows nude. Like you see the same actress topless almost every episode. You start to like notice like some creepy patterns. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. Is it the Cassie character?
Yeah. Like I
Mm,
guess she's supposed to be like the sexualized girl, or whatever, but some of the scenes she don't need to have her titties out.
got it. Now, I've also seen the meme where um Maddie finds out and that everybody reenacts. But I don't see enough conversation in terms of like why are falling over such a very problematic guy? Like why is he where is the scene where he's like getting counseling? You know what I mean? Or any of it. Where's the counselor? Where is the counselor?
There
Does the
was
counselor
one
exist?
episode. It's a special though. But the girl Jules, she goes to see her therapist after everything that's happened to her. A very good episode. It's very emotional. Beautiful shot too.
I feel like that should also be seen. Like I know there was like an intervention with Rue because she's like sweating out, but I would feel better about the show if like it was really realistic in terms of what high school students go through. It's like a triple ST team where it's like student support services that not only addresses these issues, but it's like okay, this is how we resolve it and make sure that we help them through this obstacle so they can graduate. And but if it's just a show that's just highlighting like all the bad but not really overcoming it.
I think that Euphoria, as like gritty as it can be at sometimes, I think I'm gonna appreciate the cinematography for a minute. I think it's like one of the most beautifully shot shows like of our generation, of my generation, because you're like old, older than me. You hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
I'm sorry. But I appreciated like certain shots and certain colors and certain, especially the soundtrack. I feel like the soundtrack is very beautiful. And what I mean is that like you can like the scene is like enhanced even more with the sound in the background. Like it goes perfectly with the visuals. the aesthetic of the show. Like they're selective about that stuff. Like I watched like the behind the scenes, and you could see like they put care. Like there's certain aspects to the show like they really pay attention to, and they want you to feel a certain way when you like watch a certain scene. So like there'll be certain things in there to make you feel that way. If you know what I'm saying.
No,
I
I
don't know.
get it. Imagery and how something is shot is very important because it sets the mood and adds to the story. So I'm pretty sure, like again, I've seen some clips. It looks very beautiful with some of those scenes. I just wish that based on what you're telling me, that there was some balance where like the characters get help and are healed, and there's some type, a positive resolution, as opposed to, well, I don't know. It's like, did they confirm in season three?
Yeah, it's gonna be in 2020. No, 2024.
I'm gonna just say this. I'm not sure how this, if the studio understands how aging works. Granted, they're like majority of
That's
the
what I'm
characters
saying.
have, yeah, the majority of the characters are like in their 20s, but some people age like milk. I'll be honest. So I don't know why. Maybe because I know Zendaya probably has like some other projects under her belt. I don't know if it's like a scheduling conflict or whatever, but okay. I mean, I'm still not convinced to watch it because, like I said, most of the situations, you live as a high school teacher. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I still love Zendaya. Now, going into Marvel series, which I have watched, um, these were the two that I really did enjoy. I would just skim over this next one a little bit. Moon Knight. Uh, Oscar Isaac did a really good job with this role. And I would just say this, like, it is very challenging to play a character that has multiple personalities. And I'm gonna elaborate a little bit because it's not like he's donning a completely different costume, although we get to see that in the series between the two characters. Um, but it's the way you move, the way you say certain things, it's an accent change. It's a certain way you have to carry yourself when you're doing a different character. And there are times where he had to like really switch while the camera's on him. And it was just really good. I think some people had an issue with the pacing, but just overall with Marvel series is that how short there are. There's just like there are no double digit episodes, I think, with any of the Marvel series that's on Disney Plus. And they do take some time to develop stories, even though they don't have the time. But I really do like Moonlight. It was Moon Knight. I don't know why I said Moonlight, but Moon Knight. If you're not familiar with this series, there is this, again, I'm so bad with names, but there's this character who's like British that worked at a museum. He is aware that he does have multiple personality disorder. It's another name for it, but I forgive me if I'm not politically correct. And he one day it's more severe than multiple personalities. This is dealing with, oh, the other guy has superpowers and has access to this Egyptian god who basically gave him this power as the responsibility to fight against evil. And that is a very unique concept. It's like, no, not really, if you think about the Hulk, because without the Egyptian god thing, the Eternals struggle between the other guy and like fighting for control while also still wrapping his head around like, oh, I'm also like fighting and killing people. But it was a really great series. I really love the fight scenes. Marvel does such an excellent job, whether it was on with the Netflix series with Daredevil, Luke Cage, and all those other series. They just know how to do fight scenes. Have you seen Moon Knight, Ziggy? Ziggy, are you there?
No, I have not. I've not
Okay.
seen Moon Knight.
But if you do get a chance to watch it, it's just some people complain that the pacing was a bit slow, but I appreciate Oscar Isaac doing like multiple personalities in the series. It was just really good, and I really applaud him for that. Speaking of which, the next actress that I am going to bring up also has experience in doing multiple personalities from Orphan Black, and I was really excited when I heard that she was doing She-Hulk because who doesn't love She-Hulk? Now, there's so many things with this series, and I just hate internet trolls. It's okay. Let me say this. Some of the critiques in regards to She-Hulk aren't just by like internet trolls. I think are just people that have misconceptions about the intentions of the character, where she's coming from, her experience and her point of view. Um, there were some gripes in terms of how She-Hulk was designed. I think people were looking forward to a more muscular She-Hulk and had concerns about the CGI. But I really did enjoy this series. Um, it's kind of funny because some of the things that She-Hulk was going through, I was kind of going through. So it made me really identify with the character in terms of like relationships or just kind of navigating this world as a woman. And they went for it. Now, Ziggy, we watched a couple episodes together. What is your impression of She-Hulk?
My impression of She-Hulk at first, I thought it was gonna be like, I was afraid it was gonna be corny, but when I watched the first episode, um, I was already entertained. I liked the little inclusion of Bruce and like their little lessons. Like she taught him like we talked about the conversation that she told him about her having to control her emotions as a woman, how she's already used to like suppressing her anger, and how being She-Hulk is just like being a woman for real, for real. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, some people took it as her whole speech as woman splaining or the fact that she was, not recognizing uh Bruce's trauma and all of his struggles or undermining uh his advice, but you have to
I
look
think
at
I think he was doing that to her, for real, for real.
yeah, I think he was a little underestimating
Yeah.
her a bit because we understand like it took him over a decade to really become the smart Hulk. You know what I mean? Um, because it dealing with again his own personal trauma, but I think for her because she was able to adapt it so quickly, was there even a need for her to stay isolated as long as he did? And I didn't like the fact that he was like, okay, you have to throw away your whole life because you're a Hulk now. Like you can't be a lawyer anymore. You have to commit to being 100% like a superhero. And I understand where she's coming from. Like she worked hard to earn her law degree and her practice and get to where she is today. So like why can't she have both? So I really appreciate that conversation and where can I go? We got a Hulk fight first episode.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate because sometimes it takes a bit longer for the action happens in Marvel series. Um, but yeah, I mean this was a strong series. We got to see Daredevil. He was already confirmed to be part of the MCU with the Spider-Man movie. But to really see him more in here in a new costume, um, I just really enjoyed that in their hookup. Um, and of course we got Megan Thee Stallion. I wanted to see more of her in the series, but um, again, that got backlash. They were mad that She-Hulk was twerking.
It's just so stupid.
I'm just like,
Like, have you seen like the Marvel comics for real? Like She-Hulk is really that bitch for real. So
yeah, I mean, she just like she get her dudes, but the other thing I
he
really
has
appreciate,
her some men. Yeah, Tony. I'm sorry.
I mean, she can't have him now, but
Happy.
but you know, I mean, it was just very the some of the backlash was very weird, and then I do appreciate that they were not afraid to take on the trolls. They incorporated in the series, and it's like very self-aware. Of course, we love to see her break the fourth wall. I loved the last episode where she took breaking the fourth wall into a whole new dimension in terms of like popping through the Disney Plus menu, going to like the behind the scenes studios just to take control of her own story. You know what I mean? Like her narrative. And I think that was something that she was doing the entire season. You know what I mean? Like she was
Hmm.
trying to say like I am She-Hulk, you know, Titania, what is that her name?
Yeah.
Like trying to, you know, take her identity and copyright and trademark. You know, she was trying to fight for something she didn't think she wanted, but you know, it's still, you know, her. She began to really embrace her Hulk side, even though she thought it would kind of like really get in the way or people wouldn't take her as seriously. But you know, she reclaimed it, and then she's fighting against this toxic group of men who worship her cousin and just feels like she stole the power, or just like this whole plot to like steal her blood, embarrass her in front of her, you know, in front of her family, and you know, and like it's just like reclaiming her narrative and like taking control of her story because it is her story. She is a star, and the fact that you know so many people, especially male figures, were trying to like take that away from her or you know undermine her character. And to see her fight it like in this almost like a metaphoric way and actually and a physical way, I just really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see her more in the MCU, whether it's in another series or season two. Like I want more.
I can't agree even more. I enjoyed the series. It was really
It
fun.
it was funny. It was really good drama. It's very relatable in terms of what a lot of women experience. And so, like to the haters, I want to see more She-Hulk for real. All right, another series. We're going into anime a little bit. Now, I have seen memes, cosplay of this show, and I was just like, "What is this?" And then I saw that it was available on Hulu on dub. I don't want to hear any debate about you should have watched the sub. I don't have the attention span to do sub right now. I watched the dub, and I really enjoyed this. I'm talking about Spy Family, or is it Spy X Family? Like like do you say the X? Because in Hunter x Hunter, people don't say the X.
It's probably spy friendly.
Okay, but Spy Family, and it's a very refreshing and unique anime. I feel like most anime now just stick with the plot, like either the lovable idiot protagonist that is like crazy powerful, or the shunned child who is crazy powerful but is orphaned,
It's a
or
shonen anime. It's your typical shonen.
or it's like powerless character that suddenly becomes powerful.
Not you coming for all the anime, the top anime girls.
But I'm just saying, it's just at
Just
some
have
point,
like
it's
three
like,
animes that like some people will put in their top five.
but they kind of they have similar plots, and after a while, it just gets a little weird. You know, like my one thing about like a lot of anime that irks me is like, oh, we're enemies, we gotta fight. Oh, I beat you. Now we're friends. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many times like you play, so I really appreciate this anime because it's just so unique and weird and still has the sci-fi element in it, which you wouldn't expect, but it's weird. So if you haven't seen Spy Family, it's about this spy who has to go undercover, and part of being undercover is like he has to build this family because it would look suspicious if he doesn't have a family. So he adopts a kid who happens to be psychic because of some type of experiment, and then he finds a wife because it would look weird that he just adopted this little girl, so he has to find a wife. And the wife that he finds is an assassin, but to cover up that she's an assassin or to take some suspicion off of her, she was like, okay, I gotta find at least a boyfriend. And they come to this agreement, okay, we're just gonna be married. We're just gonna, just live together and just do this. And it works, but the spy and the assassin don't really know that they or who they are. They haven't clicked their true occupation. And I'm just like, how did they not know? Because like he's a spy, so you would think he would kind of catch on to who he's bringing into his house, and that's like it's very bizarre because like both occupations require you to be very observant. Like I'm assuming that has to be part of your skill set, but somehow they're just like okay with the arrangement, and it works. But the only one that knows everybody's true intentions and identity is the little girl with the pink hair, and it's very cute. I truly enjoyed it. The assassin skills is like first of all, that's the other thing. I think it's like kind of like a bit of a plot hole, but I still enjoy it. As a spy, he sees her fight, but she just brushes off like, "Oh, I know self-defense, or you know what I mean, to protect myself because I'm a single woman in the city." And he just goes along with it. But I think it's just out of circumstance. It's like here's a woman that agrees to like pretend to be my wife or like to get married, and I'm gonna just take it as that. I can't wait till season two, and I think there is a movie which I would watch. Like I just appreciate the how different this is. Um, and even though their arrangement is circumstantial, both of them are very protective of the little girl, and I just love it. It's just like it's so spontaneous, like a random family, but I think you would really enjoy it, Ziggy. Like just based off my synopsis, do you think that you would watch it?
It sounds like a very interesting anime. I give it a watch.
Yeah, again, it's on Hulu and it's available for dub if you don't want to do subtitles. So I do heavily recommend watching it. Now, moving on to our streaming series, I have not watched this next show, solely because my concerns of reboot. There are so many times that Cartoon Network has let me down with reboots, with like a few, exemptions. But I'm very hesitant with reboots, but I understand the reasoning for it, and I'll get into it. I'm talking about Bel Air, which is available on Peacock. I gave it a thumbs up because I have heard good things about it, and even though I haven't watched the series, there are a number of things that I appreciate from the show just based on looking at the trailer and some things I've seen on social media. Um, but Ziggy, you have watched it. I'm gonna let you dive into the synopsis.
Okay, so basically, if you have seen the iconic sitcom A Fresh Prince of Bel Air, oh, let me real quick. Okay, I'm back. So basically, if you've seen, it's basically a more dramatic spin of the classic sitcom A Fresh Prince of Bel Air starring Will Smith, and this is also like Will Smith is a producer on the show of Bel Air. You know that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how some other
Uh,
people may feel about it, but now, but
it makes sense though,
yeah,
but anyways, so basically it's the same plot line, but just not the same. But from the beginning of it, it's Will. He gets caught up in a shootout in the basketball over a basketball game. It's the same thing, but it's like more serious this time because in the sitcom, like the game, like the people that were after him or like he squabbled with in like Philly, they don't really come back to like try to like get him or like kill him. In this one, like it's a whole like plot like line. Like they follow him from Philly to Cali to like end this man.
wow,
That's another way like how much it's like how much more serious this show is than like because in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air there were dramatic like scenes in the show, but I feel like the comedy just overshadowed it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, because they did talk about serious issues, whether it's racial profiling or about Will's dad, who's an absentee parent. Um, there were a lot of serious undertones, but I guess this time around with the reboot, the drama comedy ratio flipped.
Yeah.
I can see why. It like the show had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had a very serious premise, but I feel it got lost within the comedy. It is a young black man whose life was on the line if he had stayed in his neighborhood, and his mom made the conscious decision to send her son away to
Across the
his
country.
sister's house. Yeah, to his house, like to have a better life, to have more opportunities, to get out of the neighborhood. But that's the only way she could provide that for him. And that's a pretty heavy decision. You know what
And
I
they touch
mean?
on that. They touch on that in the show.
So like I stand the reboot. I think this was brought upon somebody did do like a serious parody online, and I
Yeah,
think
I saw that.
I think Will took it to heart. And I mean it's a really good idea because it's something I think a lot of people wish they could do. Like wish had like a wealthy relative that they could send their child to escape what's going on in the inner city and in their communities. So um again, I was just very hesitant because sometimes reboots can be very disappointing. Um, but some of the things that I liked based on the trailer is that I think majority of the cast is dark skinned. Like
Yes.
there's no, and I think Will did that consciously because of the Aunt Viv controversy when the first Aunt Viv left and then was replaced with a light skinned Aunt Viv. I think it still gets chastised to this day. So I think he made
They
like
even in the episode like where she's first introduced, he makes a joke about it.
the, wow. Um, but I think like he made a conscious decision, like we're gonna have heavily melanated characters that are college educated, that are
Rich, wealthy,
wealthy, access to the best education, all of that.
love
Um,
it.
and then Marlon Wayans' performance as
Oh,
Will's
performance.
dad got a lot of praise online, like a lot. Like,
Let me like as a person like watching that for the first time, I was very shocked because like you never see Marlon Wayans in like something serious like in his repertoire as an actor. Like I've never really seen him in like a serious role or like something like that. I feel like he was like showing acting his chops off for real, for real. Like you see him in those in like you know those parodies that he makes with his brother or he produced by himself. Like him being goofy, wacky, making the silly faces. Like that's where he started his career off in comedy. So to see him like enter like the drama aspect of of acting and like do very well, I really like applaud him on that because he's one of my favorite like comedic actors. To see him cross that barrier, like it was really entertaining. I enjoyed it.
yeah, and like I said, I 100% agree. Like, his whole family is known for comedy. I don't recall in recent years, and y'all can correct me online, of seeing like Marlon in a serious role. Maybe not throughout like a whole film. Like there may have been moments where he had to be serious and really
I mean,
emote.
currently he's doing serious roles because he's in like this movie with Bill Murray. He was in Aretha.
Oh,
So
that's right.
yeah,
Well, good for him, like flexing his range. And it's well deserved because like his family is a strong staple
in
in
Hollywood.
Hollywood. But I feel like they get pigeonholed because they do cater more to a black audience. I feel like the
Yeah,
Marlon family um
the
is
Wayne's family.
oh, you right. I'm sorry. The Wayne's
The Marley.
family. I was like, I just like it's more than Marlon. Like we know it's like that whole family tree.
Yeah,
The Wayans are just hilarious. And I feel like they just get pigeonholed to just like the black audience because of Living Color and
scary
the
movie.
original scary movies and White Chicks and things like that. And
Yeah,
but to be in a more dramatic role, I think white audience are starting to, you know, catch on. So good for
I'm
him.
glad because Marlon Wayans was like not acting for a long time, and I was like, work for them because like I know Sean don't act at all. Like Sean has not been in anything.
Mm.
I enjoy like not to show favoritism, but I enjoy Marlon more. I think he's funnier. So like he's my favorite out of them two.
I think it's
I was
mostly
happy
because
that he
like
did that.
wasn't the Wayans movies every time like their stuff gets jacked? Like Scary Movie, I think they lost that franchise, and then everything after I think Scary Movie 2 wasn't really theirs.
Yeah, so he made a haunted house.
Yeah,
He got
but
two of those films, and then he made what is it called? Fifty Shades of Black. Oh my god,
I think it was the 50 Shades of Grey. I didn't watch that,
the
but
50 Shades of Grey. But then you gotta start like Don't Be a Menace is a classic though.
yeah,
As bad as it may be, it's funny.
I think the students now they did that for homecoming week, like Celebrity Day. Like they will
Do it
reference
do it every year.
it's still a staple. But good
Yeah.
for Marlon. I may check this out. I think if you have Xfinity, Peacock is free. I have to probably access that during the winter break, but I'll definitely check that out. Now moving on to a different streaming platform, we'll go into some Netflix series. Not some, it's just one that really stood out to me and it's being talked about a lot. Um, we're just gonna go. I love the Addams Family growing up. I think black people just
Um,
love the Addams Family, like in general. I don't know,
Bristol,
like, and not just like the
the
black
black
alt
people.
kids. I think just black people just love the Addams Family. Like if you do, like everybody would start doing it. Like I had not encountered a black person that has not watched the film, that doesn't love Morticia, that does not love Wednesday. Like black people love the Addams Family. I can't specifically say why.
I don't. I let me. This is a theory. And correct me if this is stereotypical. I just feel like every black person has watched ABC Family, right? The channel.
Right.
I call it that anymore. It's called Freeform. Don't sue me. it is that comes on like everyone has like watched that channel or grew up watching that channel, and that movie comes on that channel like every Halloween. It's like 31 days of Halloween. Like that's like a staple. It was for me growing up.
Yeah, I think everybody just is loves it from think of the longevity of the Addams Family. I think was it like 60s or 70s, so all the way till now.
These 60s. Yeah.
It's just like, and then we have the spinoff, which I think is almost everybody's favorite character, Wednesday. And the fact that I think everybody in the Addams Family as the cast was Latino, which I'm glad that they did because Gomez, hello, Latino.
Gomez. Like I always questioned that. Why was he Latino?
I'm just glad that it's like the whole family is Latino. Like I just
Yeah.
appreciate that. Some people were mad at like them casting the actor that played Gomez, but I'm just like he was
Not the
never
best.
cute. He was never in
Yeah.
the cartoon, and even like the first early season, he was never cute. But
Even in
he
the
back,
recent
but
cartoon, he not cute.
he the character the only like handsome Gomez was like the one in like late 80s, early 90s. That was but
1991 one. Like is
yeah,
it called? Yeah, the Adam Family Values and Adam Family. Yeah.
yeah, that was like
That's
the
the one
only
I
like
grew
really
up on.
yeah. Rest in peace to that actor because he passed away like a long time ago. But
R.I.P.
he was like the only like handsome Gomez, and people were upset. Like I forgot the actor's name, but he's been around like forever. Are you mad that because he bagged Morticia? It'd be like that sometimes. But I was really looking forward to this series because everybody like from my generation grew up with Christina Ricci, and I'm glad that she was able to be in this series. The Queen of Shade, the woke queen, gothic queen, her cosplay is coming back strong. This is the icon on Wednesday, and I really appreciate what they did with this series. Like,
Yeah.
first of all, the actress' commitment to the character. I heard that she learned German, the violin. She choreographed the dance, which is now iconic in being. It's a whole TikTok slash real trend. Everybody is doing the dance from Lady Gaga to, you know, whatever next TikTok dance person. Like, there
Shout out
has,
to Jenna Ortega. That's the name of that actress that plays Wednesday Adams.
she put her foot in this role. And I heard like some of the
Yeah.
conditions that she went through. I heard that she was sick. I think she had COVID at one point. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like she was very tired. Her the work hours were obscenely long. There is some concern of like how Netflix is doing production. I think that could be a separate story. I'm gonna do some That's just what I've heard on social media. I'm gonna just say alleged so I don't get sued. Um, but she really committed to this role, and I really appreciate her for that because this is such an iconic character that anybody that has watched Addams Family, everybody, if they're not talking about Morticia, they're talking about Wednesday. And
Yeah.
so if you haven't seen the series, the premise is Wednesday gets kicked out of her high school because she was protecting her little brother from these bullies, and she gets sent to the boarding school,
Or
her
Academy.
mother, yeah, her mother went to, and she is hell bent on escaping and leaving But when she almost dies and encounters this mystery with this monster that killed her classmate, she was like, I gotta stay and figure this out. I think I actually like it here.
Of course.
And I appreciate, a nice mystery and that she becomes our Nancy Drew, our Velma. Again, great combos here. Um, and I really appreciate the twist, although like I could clock a red herring, and the misleads a little bit, and it really did keep you guessing. I didn't expect the twist that happened, and the only reason I'm not, revealing it is because I think Wednesday was number one on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
But I really want people to go see this because I know some people may say like we're gonna boycott Netflix and all of that, but I mean
Motherfuckers.
I mean everybody says that, but like y'all
Yeah.
y'all still gonna watch it. Y'all still gonna you haven't canceled. And when I see a report like a lot of people are canceling Netflix, then I take it seriously, but I don't think they will. But if the alleged um maltreatment of their actors is true, then that definitely has to be looked into for sure. But it was just really good. Great mystery. The only thing I had my gripe with it was like I think the delivery of Shade wasn't as strong as Katrina as Ricci's. It's the delivery, but I think like she's fast talking because that's also part of like Latin culture. Like they just talk fast, but it didn't allow for some of the shade to like sit. But other than that, I think she did an amazing job with this role. The fact that you learn like retain so much, gain and learn so much talent just for this role. Just applause, applause, applause. And
Yeah, and I just
yeah,
like shout out Jenna Ortega real quick. Cause she's basically becoming like the scream queen of my generation. She's been in multiple horror movies this year, and she has done so like well in like all of them that she's been in. Like she's a great actress, and I was a little hesitant because like I feel like Jenna Ortega has like been in a lot of stuff, but she shows like in everything she's been in that she like gives it her all and she like puts her best foot forward into the role. So I really applaud her for, doing all that stuff just for this role.
for sure, for sure. What is one other movie that she's been in that you would recommend to the audience?
Oh my gosh. I would recommend X by what is the name? By Ty West. It came out in 2022. It's basically about it's set in the 70s and it's basically it's Texas Chainsaw inspired, like you can see in the cinematography. It's basically about this group of adult performers want to make an adult film on a farm. Unbeknownst to the farm owners, it just takes a gory twist from there.
Does Kid Cudi die first?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Dies though.
As long as he doesn't die first, I guess. But you know how I feel about horror movies. Alright. Now, moving on out of our TV category, which I know is long, I'm gonna try to speed through these movies because it's like we're almost approaching 2 hours again. But it's just so much good stuff. Um, this is not like a full like movie, but this was a special they had on Disney Plus going back to Marvel. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. This was so good. Like when I tell you I had a genuine hard laugh from my abdomen, and then you make me cry. what is your ritual? Like, what is this magic, James Gunn? What are you? Because it's the holidays. You get tired of watching the same traditional holiday movies. You want to give Charlie Brown a break. You want to give the Christmas Story a break or whatever Ebenezer Scrooge variation. This should be your new holiday traditional movie. Like, seriously. There is, I can't even describe the chemistry that Mantis and Drax have. It, they are the perfect comedy duo, and I want to see more of them together. Whether it's some type, it doesn't have to be a series, it could be another special spin-off. They're just terrific together. So let me give you the premise. It's one, I forgot which one, I remember which one. I just can't think of his name. He's the one that adopted the Finn, and he tells the story of Star-Lord's experience with Christmas and how it, got ruined. But he like explains it to the rest of the team and tells that story. And Mantis was so moved by it, she wants to make Christmas happen for him, for Star-Lord. And part of it is because she holds guilt over withhold having this secret that, that she's his sister. And because, Ego was just like such a terrible person. It's like she's doesn't want to tell him out of fear of how he would react or how he would see her. So she goes and pulls Drax along and said, like, I'm gonna make Christmas happen for him. And they take a trip to Earth. Comedy ensues, and she came to the realization that she has to kidnap Kevin Bacon. Let's go with it. It works. It sounds ridiculous, and it is, but it was genuinely funny, like heart funny. And then after, Kevin Bacon eventually goes along with it after, having a conversation with everybody and how Star-Lord really idolizes him. He puts on a concert. Kevin Bacon is in the band. He does sing for real. Puts on a concert and then he heads back home. And then eventually Mantis reveals to Star-Lord that, they're brother and sister. And even after like all the chaos, he was like, "That's the best gift that you ever give me," and I just start crying. This, all of this boohoo tears. Because how dare you, James Gunn? How do you make something so ridiculous and funny and just have me crying? That makes no sense, but it works. Make this your new traditional holiday movie. Put it on in Christmas. Watch it again and again. It is that good. And I want to see more Marvel specials. In between, I mean, some people are complaining about Marvel fatigue, but let's be real, you're gonna keep watching it. If I'm still watching it and watching everything, you should be able to watch everything. Ziggy, I don't know if you saw this special, but just based on how I described it, would you be interested in watching it? Even though I
Yeah, I've
spoiled
been
it.
interested in watching it. I didn't even know that they had a special. I like both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, so
And
I'll,
they,
I'll be definitely checking this out.
for sure, I think it's just hilarious. Um, like I said, I want to see more Drax and Mantis. I think they have really good on-screen chemistry. It doesn't have to, and don't push like a romance. I hate when people do whenever it's like men and women they want to push like a romance. This could be a platonic relationship. They established a family bond. It doesn't have to go beyond that. They can just be friends and just be hilarious together. All right, moving on to back to Netflix. Wendell and Wild. There's just something about Key and Peele that works. They just hit the mark again and again. If you loved like Tim Burton, although a lot of people don't like him now because they find him to be racist and somewhat problematic, but if you like those styles of animation and put
Especially
first of
stop motion animation.
all, stop like this was really I just appreciate stop motion because like the amount of time it takes and
Hmm.
like the high stakes of like you have to be very careful of how you move the objects and the set building. It's just so much more work as opposed to just shooting a regular film. But this was just so beautifully done. Like if you have not watched this, you need to watch this. It's built on the premise of this young woman named Kat who lost her parents very young and is very traumatized by the experience. She's in and out through the care system and gets into trouble. And, one of her ways out is to go to this boarding school. Um, just look at her. Like, I wish I could have asked her, like, her whole outfit. She is this beautiful black alternative young lady that is trying to work through her trauma. And she has, like, literal demons. Like, she is marked to be paired with these two demons, Wendell and Wild, who are like Key and Peele, who just want to build an amusement park, but their demon father won't let them. They're stuck on hair duty, but they find a way to get out, and she makes a deal to see her parents. So, they resurrect her, and then, of course, they end up resurrecting a whole bunch of people. But the main premise is that you have this corporation that is gentrifying the neighborhood, and they commit murder. I think they wanted to destroy the school. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and of course, she on top of like dealing with her trauma and trying to sever her bond with these demons. Um, she fights against the evil corporation. I felt like there's a lot packed into the plot dealing with trauma, gentrification, and all of that because those are two really heavy issues um to deal with. Uh, but the young lady takes it on and um because I think part of it like she blames herself for the accident. She was doing something in the seat that might have like distracted her father and what I mean, or it's like survivor's guilt that she had. Um, but she finds a way to like really work through her trauma and seeing her parents, although zombies, but to really see them and I think help with her trauma. The demons are supposed to be like metaphorical and also literal, but um I feel like the plot was there was a lot going on there, but I still loved it. There was black alt girl representation. They even had a trans male character. I don't think we have to like strong representations of trans male. Trans women I've seen is like increased visibility, especially with Pose, but not. Am I wrong? Do we really
Oh, you're
see?
correct. Trans masculine people are not really shown that much in media. It was a good form of representation, especially in like an animation film.
And I think they did a really great job in terms of like I mean Key always not Key, Peele always finds a way to incorporate some major social issue into his horror uh films. So that was very on brand with him. But yeah, I think this is a movie that you guys should definitely check out. I think it was like beautifully designed. Um, they even like did a great job of making uh Wendell and Wild look like Key and Peele. Like you could obviously tell who's voicing who. Not just by the sound of the voice, but just their overall look. Um, because the creators were, very adamant about that. But yeah, it's beautifully, animated. And if you haven't seen it, it should be part of like your Halloween playlist for sure. And I think it would definitely help those that if you are dealing with some sort of trauma, well, one, you should definitely see a therapist. But I think this movie would encourage you, to seek help and work through your issues. All right. Now, through this next movie, I am very confused at what's going on with the DCU. They're supposed to be rebooting from scratch. We're losing Henry Cavill as Superman. Everybody's pissed. We don't even know the future of this brand that I'm about to go into, and which is upsetting because like I've been waiting to see The Rock play this character for years, and that they finally got it, and then it was like I guess it wasn't successful in the theaters. But I'm like, it was good. To me, it was good. I saw it when I took my students when we were in Atlanta, and during our downtime, we got to see this movie, and they really loved it. They got hyped, at the end with the post credit scene. So the sudden news of what's going on with DCU is very disappointing, and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know if this was just I'm gonna look into this further. I don't know if this was just like James Gunn decision or how they're gonna move, but of course I'm talking about Black Adam. I liked it. I don't know how some people really feel about it. I always enjoy The Rock. He is a great action slash comedic
Uh,
actor. Um, I just
my internet's cutting out. My
oh
internet is
no,
cutting out. I'm so
no.
sorry. I am so sorry.
All
I'm about
right,
to log off.
okay. Well, thank you, Ziggy, for being on the show. I'm gonna try to finish out um this review. Well, okay, Black Adam could be the last one, and then I guess part three. I'll do snippets of later because we're approaching like 2 hours now. But with Black Adam, basically we get into the backstory of this anti-hero who um was dealing with oppression in his time, and he was chosen to be the hero, and then he just went off and he was sealed away. He is resurrected by uh this group excavating this tomb, and chaos ensues. He comes in, kicks butt, and because he's like so powerful, the Society is called in to try to handle him, whether it's to take him out or to capture him. They mix it up. Hawkman, Cyclone, um, who's the other cat? We get to see Doctor Fate. I was excited to see Piers Brosnan because I've only really known him as like 007, but to really see him, as Doctor Fate. Okay, then we get Atom Smasher and Cyclone, so we see more of DC characters in this film. Uh, I'm trying to make this quick. The fight scenes were great, and then we get the boss battle. I mean, there's okay. I would say this. I appreciate the twist because Black Adam isn't who we originally thought he was. Um, so I'm glad they dived into that, created that twist into that back part of that backstory. Um, the fight scene with the boss was crazy. I really appreciate that. It was really dope. Um, and then the post credit scene with Henry Cavill Superman. You mean to tell me we're not gonna see Superman versus Black Adam, or with the uncertainty of a sequel, like, are we going to see The Rock's Black Adam ever go against our current Shazam? Is Shazam going to be the same after like they premiered this movie? Is it even worth watching this Shazam sequel if we know that DC is going to get a reboot? I'm still not clear if Flash, the Flashpoint movie, it's so many unanswered questions. It saddens me. Now, have DC, the DCU has been struggling, has not been always as successful as the Marvel franchise, and has been dealing, but I feel like they had some come ups with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam. So I assumed that, things were getting better. I don't know what this reboot is gonna look like. I heard they were going with a tried to go with a younger Superman. They could do a Superman prequel. I don't think they had to get rid of Henry Cavill, but it is what it is. It's very disappointing. There are a lot of lingering question marks in terms of like the future of DCU. Even though Rock said like he doesn't know if there's gonna be a Black Adam sequel or how his portrayal of the Black Adam is going to even continue. Um, it's very disheartening, but like I said, I still enjoyed the movie. I liked it. I was excited to see where they were going to go. Um, but yeah, I had two other movies that I wanted to talk about, but I guess we're doing a part three. And with that, I also for next week we're gonna do a K-pop segment because K-pop is just it's the new wave. It's here. So I appreciate you guys for staying with me for 2 hours and listening to me ramble. Um, Ziggy had to go dealing with some internet issues, but it's okay. We will be back next week. It would hopefully more guests. And again, I do want to hear from you guys. I want to see you guys in the chat. I want to hear your thoughts on some of the things that we're talking about because your voice matters. And I appreciate my fans for really sticking with me. I'm starting to get hot and I need water. But again, thank you guys for watching. If you did miss the live stream, don't worry. The audio will soon be coming out and of course I will be posting on YouTube. So make sure that you follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Noir Vibes DC. And remember, you guys, you can't go wrong when you go with the flow. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.